Most traders don't lose because their strategy is bad. They actually lose because their mindset is bad. And until you get out of this beginner mindset, it doesn't matter if you're a couple years into trading, you're never really going to see success. Over the last year, I've helped a lot of traders, go from unprofitable to profitable. And what I will say is literally the main deciding factor of people's success is their mindset. What do I mean by this? The first issue is, what is the first thing that is implemented in your mind when you get into trading? At least for me, what I remember is I saw P&Ls, I saw money, I saw the addiction of making money fast, right? Everyone saw a video of someone trading, making a decent amount of money in a short amount of time. And that is the first idea of trading that is engraved into your head. Whenever I talk to people that are, just getting into trading, I'll always ask like, hey, why are you getting into trading? And most people, what they say is, well, it looks like you make a lot of money and not that much effort. And that is the first issue. Like, the issue is like right when you get into trading, you're getting into it for the wrong reasons. I got into it for the wrong reasons, and most people that get into trading get into it for the wrong reasons. That's why on this channel, if you guys have watched my videos, I really do like to talk about the reality of trading, how it works, and why you do have to rewire your mindset. And the issue is, again, from the start, most people's mindsets are completely incorrectly wired. You're focusing on the result. You're starting because of the result. The correct way to approach trading is a processed, focused goal. Whenever you guys approach any other skill in your life, let's say you want to be a basketball player, are you going to think about, all these things that you can achieve when you're in the NBA? Most people, maybe they'll think about that, but in reality, they know, hey, the only way I get good at basketball is by playing basketball, is by practicing every single day, right? It's like you're focusing on the skill. You're getting the idea that I have to get good at the skill, right? Most people, again, get into trading for the wrong reasons, when in reality, the secret is focusing on the skill. So you have to take a step back. You have to, rewire your brain. Starting off, it's like, okay, do you have goals? Does everyone have some sort of trading goals? Does they have some reason they want to get into trading? Cool. Okay, there is a idea. Maybe I want to achieve this monetary goal. Maybe I want to achieve this freedom. Maybe I want to achieve this. Cool. There you go. You got your goal. You got it, and you thought of it for a second. Good. Forget about the goal. Understand, okay, the reason why I'm going to continue doing this is because I have that goal in my mind. But from there, once you think of that goal, I never want you to think about any other monetary things. I never want you to think about any other money aspects. What I want you to think about is, how am I going to achieve the goal? Because at the end of the day, anything you want to achieve, you have to have a set process to achieve the goal, right? So with trading, it starts as a skill. It starts as a skill. It is ultimately a skill. You're reading candles. You're trying to see whether the market is going to go up or down, right? It's a simple aspect. But again, it is a skill that can be learned, and it is a skill that requires a lot of data collection, a lot of reflection, and that is the root of the skill. You have to focus on, okay, if I do have these goals, how am I going to achieve these goals? Well, I have to, become a profitable trader. How am I going to be able to create a slight edge in the market, right? Most people can pick a little strategy, right? They can figure out a way to trade, but then they start, going away from this strategy, or they start kind of ignoring things about the strategy. They start thinking more about money. I'll talk to so many traders, and they'll always say like, oh, if I could just pass this account, if I could do this, if I could do that. They're always focusing on, oh, if I could get this result. Oh, if I can finally get this payout, I can do this. Oh, like if I pass these accounts, I can do this. Oh, like they're so focused on this result they want to have. But I never see people saying, hey, I'm really trying to refine my data. I'm really trying to, get rid of a couple losses a month, because that's what's going to put me over the edge to become profitable, right? That is what I don't see traders focusing on. But the traders I do see off the bat literally falling in love with the skill. They want to become the best trader they can. They fall in love with the fact that it's like, hey, they understand trading is a skill that can be learned. And in the beginning, what I remember, I was frustrated that other people were winning and I was just constantly losing. I was getting really frustrated at the fact that, like, dude, these people are just better than me at this skill. And it's like, obviously they're making money, but it's like, they're better than me on the root cause of this skill. And it's like, once you realize, hey, I do have to spend time, I do have to reflect, I do have to learn the skill, I have to start collecting data, and you start asking yourself every single day, going from how am I going to get this result, how am I going to improve a little bit every single day? Am I just going to go through the motions today? Am I just going to watch the market? Am I just going to, take my trade, take my win, take my loss, go on to the next day, get stuck in this loop? Or am I going to understand every single day is a day that I can progress? Every single day is a day that I can get one step closer to my goals. And I feel like that's the beauty of trading. That's the process that you have to fall in love with. That's the mindset that you have to have if you do have a goal of being a profitable trader in the future. You have to fall in love with the day-to-day, because it's the day-to-day that will compound to give your effect, right? But again, too many people focus so much on the results, they focus so much on what they want to have, that they will get wiped out by a bad week, that they will get wiped out because of their own head. You are giving yourself maybe some goals, you want things to achieve by a certain time, and in turn, you are making it harder to do what needs to be done to achieve those goals. So with that being said, okay, how do we start rewiring the mindset? First of all, we talked about, right, you have goals, put those goals on a pedestal, understand you're never gonna achieve those goals. Never, ever, ever, I promise you that, unless you focus on, again, your inputs, your process to achieve those goals, right? So starting off is like, okay, everyone has a strategy that they're trading. It has to make sense to you, because if it doesn't make sense to you, again, you're not gonna be able to do it long term, because you don't even know why the profession you're doing, what you're waking up every single day to do, doesn't it make sense to you? How do you expect to be good at it, right? So once you have that picked, it's like, okay, you start with the data collection. Reframe your mind. I want to get the best at this strategy, right? Now, it doesn't matter if you're trading low RR, high RR. The only difference is, when you're trading higher risk to reward, probably going to take more losses. When you're trading lower risk to reward, statistically, you're going to take less losses. But regardless, it's going to start with data collection. You want to focus on that data collection. You really want to focus on, hey, am I taking the best trades that I can every single day? Am I going to take the best trade of the day, or a trade that I deem with my data? And every single day that you stray away from that is now going to be another month that it takes to achieve your goal, right? You're rewiring your mindset from that result that you want to achieve to your actual daily inputs. And you're like, okay, I have to take every single day-to-day serious. That's the thing about trading. It requires 100% discipline every single day. Going into the day, you have to show up to the market, you have to watch the market, you have to either take your trade or not take your trade. But again, that's your learning experience. It's like going into a college class, right? You either sit there, you just blindly write all the notes and go on to the next day and forget all the information, you don't retain anything, or you sit there, you understand why everything happened. Maybe you didn't take a trade, maybe it didn't align with your strategy, but are you journaling? Why did you not get a trade? What did you do stuff correctly? Did you do stuff incorrectly, right? It takes accountability. It takes a lot of accountability, because it requires you during those 1, 2, 3 hours of the day that you are looking at the charts, when you are reflecting back on yourself, you do have to be honest with yourself. If you can't, be like, oh, I missed the trade, on to the next day. No, because you're, again, running away from your problem. Where you can start coping with your ideas and say, like, well, I showed up every single day, I keep on putting in effort every single day, the result has to come. Right? It's the biggest cope of all time. I talked to a bunch of traders. I was actually talking to a trader that's kind of like break even yesterday, and I'm trying to help him. And he would literally tell me, it's like, dude, I'd go into my days and I'd like just take 2 trades, even though I'm only supposed to take 1 trade. But I tell myself, like tomorrow, bro, like I'm gonna stop. And then 2 months went by. This guy was taking 2 trades every single day and kept on weeding his P&L down. He'd take a good trade, sometimes the first trade, second trade, he'd weed it down. And it's like, the longer you lie to yourself, the longer it's going to take that result to happen, right? So on a base level, what you have to focus on, again, is the process. What is the day-to-day process? One of my mentors, honestly, the main guy that taught me the real, secret to trading, which is psychological, taught me that, hey, you can't put ideas of when you're going to achieve a result. Because again, the way the result is achieved is through the trades, through the skill. And that's where, I got this, 30 trades challenge that I talked about in some previous videos, where I talk about, hey, you have to take 30 trades following all your rules, following, the skill that you are learning. And he told me, I don't care if it takes you 2 years. I remember when I heard that, I was like, bro, 2 years? I want to achieve all these things in 2 years. But that's the issue. I had the wrong mindset. I was expecting, or I thought that I deserved these things because of maybe the inputs I was making day to day. But in reality, I was being ignorant to what I was doing day to day. I wasn't reflecting, I wasn't journaling, I wasn't looking back on what I could improve every single day. I was only thinking about the result. I was thinking about where I want to be. And that's the mindset that, again, most unprofitable traders have. You're thinking about where you want to be and you're trying to speed up that process. But what you don't have, because it is hard to have, is patience. Knowing that, hey, it might take a year, 2-3 years to get where I want to be, but everything is in your control. Now it's a game of, you versus you, which we've talked about. It's like everything is under your control. Whether you show up that day, whether you try your best, to learn from that day, from that experience, that time you get wicked out of your trade, that time when the market doesn't do what it wants to do. When you write all that stuff down and you understand, hey, maybe I'm not the best at the skill, but I am going to get better. I'm frustrated that I am losing. I'm frustrated that I am, not able to predict this accurately the way I want to. But I'm so frustrated that I am going to get a little bit better every single day, that I am going to keep track of every single data point, that I am slowly going to progress, right? When it goes from a game of chance, where it goes from a game of what most people do, it's just like going through the motions. You try to follow some strategy, you blindly follow it, right? And it's just like, you might win some trades, you might lose some trades, you don't know why you're winning, you don't know why you're losing. And again, you're just focusing on the result. I want to pass this account, I want to make this P&L, I want to do this, I want to buy this car. Again, you're not actually going to learn. You're not actually going to improve, right? And it's like, it's such a simple thing. It's such a simple mindset, but it's such a difficult mindset because, again, you have to be fully honest with yourself, right? It's like someone that wants to compete at a pro level, maybe in bodybuilding. And it's like, okay, you understand where you want to be. What do you have to do day by day? You have to, train every single day. You have to track every single calorie, every single thing that you intake. You have to be on point with every single thing, but most people can't do it because it is so difficult. It is so difficult. You do have to be on point every single day. You do have to do your best every single day. And that's the same thing about trading, right? It's like, I think most people subconsciously know, I do have to be journaling. I do have to be reflecting. I do have to be honest with myself. But it is so difficult, so they start looking for copes otherwise. They start looking for a little excuse or a little thing that they can do instead of the actual hard work. A little cheat way, a cheat code to trading. I remember that's what I used to look for. Maybe there was a secret strategy I didn't know about that would make it easier instead of me actually following my rules, instead of me actually hopping off after my session, instead of me actually journaling my trades, instead of me doing the stuff that was hard, that was difficult. But unfortunately, that's just how life works. Whenever you make a mistake, it is your fault. There's no one else you can blame. You can blame the market, you can blame all these external factors, but this is not the mindset that's going to have you perform. Because it's like, when you do blame everything on yourself, maybe everything isn't your fault, sure, but you are holding yourself to a good standard. You are at least going to improve every single day. You are at least going to get a little bit better at trading. You are going to let this compound time and time out. And once you start, rewiring your mindset to not think in short-term amounts, weeks, what is my P&L for the week? What is my improvement for the week? What's my improvement for the month? But it's like, where am I going to be 3 months from now? What are my inputs over the span of a year, right? Am I doing all these things for a year? And it's like, I'm so confident that if most people just did something just as simple as holding themselves accountable every single day, understanding exactly what happened and why it happened and what you learned from that day, if you repeated that for a year, I promise you, you might not be where you want to be, but you'd see results, you'd see progress. It is a very difficult mindset. It takes a lot of time to develop because it's an inverse relationship. You have to focus on what you're in control of, and you're the only one that's in control of your trading. So, that's kind of like what I have to leave with this video. Please, please, please focus on what you can control. Don't focus on the external factors. You will never be able to control those. But what you can control is what you do when you wake up every single day. That's what you have to focus on. You can't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. You're just not going to improve. You're not going to improve. You're just going to keep on lying to yourself, and there's going to be a point where you can't lie anymore. Can't lie anymore because you're probably just going to lose all your money. And again, don't really want people watching this to have to go through that. So key, accountability, man. Accountability, process-focused mindset, getting a little better every single day. That is the secret to trading. But hope you guys enjoyed the little yap. I'll catch you in the next episode.